Darren Moore was sacked yesterday. As a former owner yourself, Simon, what's the thinking? I mean, goodness only knows. I interviewed Chansiri at the end of the Sheffield Wednesday match at Wembley. And it was interesting, to say the least. He had big plans, but I wasn't really sure what his thinking was. What do you think the thinking is here to get rid of Moore at this stage?
Well, I think it's a bit more mutual than just getting rid of Moore. I think they've had a discussion about the way forward, and they see things slightly differently, is my understanding of things. Look, success is a moving feast. It's about perpetual motion. And what is success today needs to be built upon. And there is an innate bravery about making decisions. You might think it's ruthless, and the football might well look at it and go, well, hang on a second. But if you believe that someone is better set to take you further forward, then you make those decisions, and some would say, well, hang on a second, for example, of Gary Neal, I'll deal with Darren Moore in a second. You know, hang on, he kept you in the division. Well, there was an element of Gary O'Neill wasn't necessarily this guy's particular choice. He was a scenario that was foisted upon him by the very nature of Bournemouth's situation following Scott Parker. He did the job in hand, and he obviously believes, for the best interests of Bournemouth, that Gary O'Neill's not going to take them somewhere that he wants to go. Now, that is a very straight down the line decision, and people might look at it from an emotional point of view. But if you pare it back and look at it and say, when Nigel Atkins was taken out of Southampton and they put Pochettino in there was an outcry going, hold on, hold on, and everyone thought that was a bit ruthless. He's doing a decent job. He's okay. He's not bad. He's going okay. And or it might have been Pardew. Atkins was taken out of either Pardew or Pochettino, but one of them took over and took Southampton to a different level. And everyone at the time thought it was a bit brutal.
You're speaking like an owner, aren't you?
I'm speaking about somebody that doesn't deploy sentiment to business decisions. This isn't somebody walking up to Gary O'Neill and saying, you're ugly, I don't like you, you're stupid, I don't want you working here. This is somebody saying, I think you've run your course. I think you've done a brilliant job for us. You're going to get paid on the way out, because that's the difference between an owner firing somebody and a manager upping and leaving, is that the manager will get paid. More often than not, when a manager jacks and walks out the door, you leave yourself in a very invidious position as an owner, because you've backed them, supported them, you've given them the platform to be successful. And the only time, with the exception of these guys, that you fire managers is because they're failing.
Yeah, but hang on here. I want to stop you right in your tracks this morning. Let's say the story yesterday had been different. Let's say the announcement was that Gary O'Neill wants to thank everybody for his time at Bournemouth, but he's taken the Leeds job, and he wants to thank everybody at Bournemouth for what they did for him. You would be on him like a ton of bricks this morning. Disloyalty. This is what owners get, just as you were with Michael Beale.
No,
Marcus Silva.
I was on Michael Beale because, and there's a similarity.
No.
And hang on, you're right to point it out, because I'm thinking my way through this. Michael Beale was given an opportunity from being a number 2 into QPR. Someone backed him, very similar to Marcus Silva. Marcus Silva's stock in trade was to get Hull relegated. Everyone gave him this big reputation. Watford took a chance with him, backed him, and as soon as he got some headlights on him, he decided to leave. So that scenario that you're conceptualising with Gary O'Neill and Leeds as an opportunity, yeah, I can see that if I gave that reaction, right? I can see that if I gave that reaction, you'd be able to shout hypocrisy. Yeah, I understand that perspective.
So what should our view of owners be this morning then?
Well, our view of owners should be,
and I'll
give you an example of what I wish I'd done. I wish I'd fired Dowie when we got promoted. Not because of what I subsequently found out about him and my subsequent distaste for the things he said and did, but because at the time when I went into the Premier League, I thought, I don't think he's got the chops to take us further forward. I think we need someone that's going to be able to compete in the Premier League. Palace did it. Parish did it with Ian Holloway. He took Holloway out and put Pulis out in very early in the season. And I didn't have that luxury because I was greeted with people that we didn't have this abundance of riches that Palace had the opportunity over years to get past. Hodgson, Pulis, Allardyce, all around.
So why didn't you sack him then?
Because I couldn't find a better alternative.
So Bill Foley thinks he's found a better alternative in Donny, but he doesn't really know, does he? He doesn't know for sure.
So we attack. No, he doesn't. It's an interesting, curious one who's got in his ear and why he thinks this guy from Rayo Vallecano is going to do something more significant. He's got a mediocre win record in terms of what he's achieved in the jobs that he's had, but something has got into the owner's mind. Someone has put it there. Someone has suggested this guy is a next evolution from recruiting players to a style of football to a more coherent managerial approach than the one we've got Gary O'Neill in.
Right. So Foley bringing in Andoni Iraola at this stage from Rayo Vallecano. What does this tell us about Foley? Does it tell us he's ruthlessly ambitious, or does it tell us that better watch yourself with this guy because he'll bin you as soon as look at you?
No, I think that if he had made the appointment and had been in the situation with Gary O'Neill where he was absolutely committed, Gary O'Neill was his recruit, rather than somebody that shuffled sideways out of the cab rank, was the guy that put his head above the parapet, took over the team, got a few wins and gave them a bit of solidity after Scott Parker's antics, then we could make that accusation. But what people attach, because people are emotional about football, and because people are emotionally invested in their side, they think subsequently everyone else has got to have the same emotional baggage. And that means owners have got to be as emotional about the awful word, the sack.
Emotional.
Let me.
Emotional. Do you accept this morning that owners are just as disloyal as certain managers can be?
Well, it depends what you consider disloyalty. Depends if
Popping off to a better opportunity.
Depends if you consider believing. You can be loyal to a fault for a reason that's flawed, or you can make a decision that's in the best interests of, ironically, everybody. The individual concerned, because you believe that he's not going to carry this forward, the person coming in because they're a better opportunity for the club, and the football club per se. Now, if it's a personality clash, these things happen, right? These things happen. You could suggest that the difference between Thomas Tuchel and Todd Boehly was a personality clash. So that brings out a non-football related decision, but ultimately it's a football related decision, because further down the line, if you've got no communication channels open between one another because you've got a personality clash, it'll soon become a football related matter rather than just a personality. But I take your point about Gary O'Neill and the sentiment, if he'd up and left Bournemouth and gone to Leeds, I'd have gone, it's curious. Like I said to Lee Bowyer, it's curious. Why would you go from Charlton to Birmingham and possibly pass one another on the way up and on the way down?
So for the first time, you're with me on this morning. You're with me on this, that there is a parallel to be drawn here. What's fair for them should be fair for the manager.
I think you've got an exception that doesn't prove the rule. I think most of the time, 90% of the time, managers are fired for failing. So you employ a manager, just before we go to the break, you employ a manager that basically is brought in to be successful. If he becomes successful, then you shouldn't be grateful for it, because that's what he was brought there for. Success is all relative. So the moment they become successful on the stage that you gave them, with that in their mindset from the first, then they're off and away. Then when they fail, which often is the case, you get to pay them on the way out. So it's not quite as equitable.
Yeah, but in the instance that goes with the role.
But yes, so then it's not a case of disloyalty.
Jim, the West Ham fan, says you are squirming this morning.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
You'd be the first.
But I've just agreed with that. I've agreed with the principle of the Gary O'Neill hypothetical scenario could be considered to be one that would be the exception that breaks the particular rule.
I mean,
but
Jim's
the rule is the rule.
Here, Simon, you do often say managers are only in it for themselves.
They are.
And at the next opportunity that suits them, they'd be out there quicker than a quick thing from quick land.
And that's why it's so wonderful.
Gary O'Neill has been screwed over here.
And that's why it's so wonderful to watch people like Thomas Frank suggest that Brentford is their opportunity, Brentford is their home ground, they appreciate the opportunity they're being given, and they're not doing anybody a favour. On the polar opposite of that is ghastly little individuals like Conte, who I admired massively, that come in the door and don't want to suffer anything. I want everything their own way. So your hypothetical scenario is a good example, but it's the exception that does not disprove the rule.
Okay. I'm going to put it out there this morning. Are owners just as disloyal and out for themselves as managers? On occasion. Would it be wrong to position that any other way? Gary O'Neill screwed over. Is that not the case? Certainly looks like it. You can give us a call this morning on that and on the Darren Moore situation. 03717 223344 810 89 1030.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.